Inside Tennessee with two Republicans who would like to have your vote in the state Senate District 6 race. Monica, you brought up abortion before the break. Explain your concern about Senator Massey's votes on that topic.
Well, I'm pro-life, period. I believe the baby in the womb is a life. And I think everyone has to decide whether you believe that or not. And I don't believe that, especially as a Republican Party who stands on the principle that we are pro-life, that we're going to sacrifice children in some circumstances. And so I'm very happy with our current law that makes it unlawful in Tennessee to have an abortion except when the life of the mother or health of the mother is in jeopardy. And so I want to keep that bill strong.
Senator, your response.
Well, I have a 100% pro-life voting record. We never voted on this bill, but it was a rape and incest bill that was clarifying some things. The part that I like, because right now the serious bodily harm is in state law, incest is illegal, but what that bill did on the incest portion, which was the one I was the most interested in, was it was for girls under 14, and that to be able to obtain it, the scumbag basically that got them pregnant would have to be charged. I mean, there was a key component of it. And I looked at my 11-year-old granddaughter and I said, if she was a victim of that, at which point, which life were you going to sacrifice? But nobody has spent their life working in the field, taking care of folks that would have been aborted, like the folks I served at Sertoma Center. And pro-life to me is not just pre-birth, it's post-birth too, and following up with the resources that these young women need if they have their babies.
I think it's worth a follow-up though, just so we're clear. Right now in the state of Tennessee, the provider cannot do an abortion on a woman in a rape or incest situation. It's not legal. Do you think there are not circumstances where for the woman that she should not be able to get an abortion if she's been impregnated in a rape? And let me start with you.
Well, I think that's a discussion that needs to be had.
Hasn't it been had and it's been turned down?
Well, the rape portion is, there are some mechanisms for that because they're not under the control of the perpetrator. And there is the morning after pill, that's before they get pregnant. But the incest portion was the part that really concerned me most because it was for the youngest people. And I felt like, even though it is already in law that the serious bodily permanent damage to a bodily organ, I just don't think that was clear enough right now as far as the incest, but to make the scumbag responsible was what I signed on for.
And Ms. Irvine, your position, even if a man forcefully impregnates her, you're like, no, abortion is not okay.
That's right. Yeah, because I believe in protecting the life. Do I want this scumbag to be prosecuted? Of course I do. I've been investigating cases of child abuse for 20 years. It's very important, but we're going to kill a baby before we even know if an actual rape took place. So then what happens if the case doesn't go anywhere? So what happens if the man is found innocent? What happens to all of the men and boys throughout Tennessee that now the only way a woman can get an abortion in Tennessee is to claim rape? I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Does it matter how old the girl is to you? If she's 11 and impregnated and claimed, and it is a rape. Any 11-year-old that's impregnated is a rape.
Of course
Does it matter if it's 11 or 21?
No, it doesn't.
So an 11-year-old, the medical research behind an 11-year-old pregnancy puts her at tremendous risk to have further children and her own life at risk just to give birth to that child. That doesn't have any impact to you?
Well, of course it does, but our law already covers that because our law says that it's that you can have an abortion if there's any risk to any future organ. I mean, not future, any organ, any long-term damage to your organ. So our law already protects.
But my first question was, I asked, does it matter to you if the girl is 11 or 21? And you said, no, it doesn't.
It matters that she was raped, but does it make me want to kill a baby? No.
So you don't think that 11-year-old girl should be entitled to an abortion?
I think that 11-year-old girl should not have been raped, is what I believe.
I agree. We agree on that. But what
Yeah.
happens, that's not, we're not living in reality. What happens, because I'm a criminal defense lawyer. Tragically, I've defended too many of those cases and helped out victims in those cases. So it happens. So my point is, when it happens, and it does, it's fantasy to say rape shouldn't happen. Our law enforcement does a fine job at trying to deal with these situations, but you're not going to catch all of it. So again,
Right.
you don't think that 11-year-old girl should be able to be entitled to have an abortion if her and her family consent and decide that and their doctors, you think the legislature should govern that?
I think that the legislator is supposed to uphold the Constitution which protects life.
Even at the expense of the 11-year-olds?
No, not at the expense of the 11-year-old. No.
But I'm sorry, I'm just confused by the answer, because you're saying, no, she shouldn't have one, but not at her expense.
If there is any harm that's going to be caused to her body or to an organ, then sure, our law protects that she can have an abortion. I mean, you're trying to ask me if I think if it's me that's going to force an 11-year-old to have a baby. It's not me. It's the perpetrator who impregnates
I
a
understand,
girl,
but you get to vote
okay?
on the legislation, and that's the point.
Yeah, I won't vote to kill babies. I will never vote to kill babies inside the womb.
Just 11-year-olds.
We are going to leave that conversation here, and then Susan, when we come back, you'll lead off our discussion. We'll be back on Inside Tennessee with more.